I'm so excited to be on tonight. It's two reasons I'm excited to be on tonight. One, this is a very passionate conversation for me, because it hits deep, it hits home, and then two, I'm just excited. I'm beyond excited. I'm honored to sit with. I call Dr. Sherry. I'm honored to sit with Reverend Sherry tonight, who is, in my opinion, an expert on our conversation tonight, talking about veterans and moral injury, and what has happened. I know that a lot of us are prepared to celebrate and are excited about celebrating um, Memorial Day weekend. I'm very clear that a lot of people don't have a clue what Memorial Day weekend really is about. Because we treat Memorial Day weekend like Veterans Day weekend. One is in May and one is in November. On the other hand, I'm also very clear for those who are aware of the difference. Um, in my opinion, this is a heavier weekend than that of the one in November, because we are really talking about soldiers in memorial. And so anything in memorial means that this person is passed, and we are celebrating life post mortem. I might say that wrong, my country accent, but we're celebrating them in past, and we really don't know. So I told Dr. Sherry I'll tell a little bit of my story on why I genuinely believe in this conversation and why it was necessary, and what a way to come back after I took some time off, because my father was a veteran. And so people hear me tell my story about my dad and what happened between my mother and my father and I. And even some of my family members are like, why do you talk about it? But I talk about it because all of that wasn't on him. And so something, as we'll get into it tonight, that came from moral injury, because the war he served in, Vietnam, it has been researched, it's been studied, and it has been written that war was an unjust, unneeded. You'll hear veterans that are still alive like, we don't know why we went, kind of war. But it left so much pain within the Black community and Black faith community, because we had soldiers that come home that did not know how to be human. And it affected their families, it affected their communities, and then they got stuck with not only mental health issues and emotional wellness issues, but they also got stuck with physical issues. My father, he beat cancer twice, if I recall. And he also had skin issues because of Agent Orange. And so, he literally could not get over, like what happened to his skin and what came out of his skin because of this. But it also put at stake their spiritual health. Like, they were really, my father was really into Bible. Like, if I had to say, my dad was a biblicist. He was, but that's what he had to lean on. But he also grieved until he passed. Even on Memorial Day, he would ask, why did I have to wake up? Why did I have to be home? Because he also had the images of losing those. And he had a state of memorial. And so tonight we're gonna get into it. I'm gonna let Dr. Sherry introduce herself. She don't watch this and been on it and loved me. And so I want her to introduce who she is to us tonight. If you know Dr. Sherry or other forums, tonight she's gonna be who she introduces herself to be, and you and you get to listen to the magic that she's about to say. I said it on a Healthy Holy Conversation. The tools that she's about to leave us with tonight, because some of us are dealing with veterans on Monday, and the barbecue gonna happen, the liquor gonna pour, the roll up gonna happen, all of that's gonna happen on Monday. But you're gonna try to figure out why are they so sad, and it's because
Yes.
this is Memorial Day, and we need to talk about this morality and this moral injury. So, Dr. Sherry, welcome to Healthy Holy. Let us know who you are tonight.
Well, first of all, in my Baptist voice, what an honor and a privilege it is to be with you, Dr. Margaret, tonight. Um, I have watched you from afar, and we've worked together in some capacities. And baby, I have made it to the healthy and holy conversation. And I'm going to try to do my best to do what you have asked me to do on the night. And that's who I am. I mean, I'm simply Sherry. I like to say I'm Sherry, Reverend Sherry, Chaplain Sherry, Sherry from the 800 block of Mooney Avenue, just a country preacher that God has blessed to do multiple things. And one of the things that I do, I am a chaplain, and I work with veterans on a daily basis. And Pastor Margaret, I want to start by saying Memorial Day is not a happy Memorial Day. Let's just start right there and get that right. So if I was doing my editing tip, which I do Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, I would say that there is a difference between Memorial Day and Veterans Day. Memorial Day honors those who are deceased. So we should not be having Happy Memorial Day posts.
Oh my God.
We should not be having Memorial Day sales. We should not be having Memorial. If anything, you observe this day. You observe this day by remembering those who served. But, beyond those served, but all of those who've died, but particularly those who served in military. And Veterans Day is for all who served, right? For all who served. Memorial Day is for those who have died. Veterans Day is for those who have served from 1 day to 99 years, right? All veterans. So we want to set that platform, because as Margaret talked about, on Memorial Day, when you are trying to do your fireworks, if you have a veteran who lives in your community, who lives in your neighborhood, who is in your home, I invite you not to set off fireworks. Fireworks remind veterans, those who have served, especially those who have PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. It will remind them of where they were, and they will experience those sensations, those sounds, those images all over again. And then, if they have someone who is watching them, I will end up seeing them on the mental health unit come Tuesday. So you wonder why there may be a big, even those who have been without drugs or alcohol, come Memorial Day, because they're trying to drown out the images. They're trying to drown out the images, the sights, the sound, the smell of burning rubber can send a sensation over their bodies, and it will take them back. I only go here, Dr. Margaret, because I need us to understand the severity of the invisible wounds that you may never see, but you will get the repercussions.
My God. So she came in hot and heavy. I knew she would. I was ready for it. Maybe not.
Yeah.
I'm taking notes. My father was a veteran. My father passed October of 2021. And I told Dr. Sherry I'd be out. It took me like 90 days to get out of my phone. because I had unresolved issues with my dad. Memorial Day don't look the same for me. I'm one that I will go work on Memorial Day. That's one of my mechanisms. But what she just said was huge. I used to work inside of corrections, and we had a spike in veterans around Memorial Day. You couldn't convince me that I thought it was because of Memorial Day, but not all of the things you just said. One, we calling it have a happy Memorial Day. Rooms to Go has a Memorial Day sale every time, and they make it big. It's so colorful. They make it red, white, and blue. But who wants to buy furniture when they thinking about a casket? I mean, can I be honest? That might be too blunt, but no, I don't want to do that.
We have co-opted. We have co-opted the meaning. So even if you go back, I just saw before we came on the history of Memorial Day. When it was Black people, those who had been enslaved, who were remembering the Union soldiers who fought on their behalf. It's circulating right now on Facebook. So even the beginnings is rooted in death. Is rooted in death. And so I just needed us to start right there so we can set the tone of, this conversation. This is not going to every veteran.
Yeah.
But it is going to be those who deal with PTSD and those who are who were frontline. And everybody who is on drug and alcohol, a veteran, is not because for recreational use. It is for a medication, self-medication to drown out. And I keep going through these, the sights, the sounds, the smells from what they experienced or were exposed to on the front line.
So sometimes I like to have people sit. Like I did many things in life. Like as a VJ, you're not supposed to have a lot of dead air. I don't mind sitting here having some dead air for people to grab that. Even if you watch the replay, grab the sensory that's being offered. Pay attention to people's sensory. We were not there. I wasn't on the front line with my dad, but we could not sounds, smells, the way even we could touch. We had to monitor all of that when I was growing up. And particular holidays, especially Memorial Day, no, I don't want to hear it. Anytime we went to a funeral of somebody he knew and it was a 21 gun salute, we had to get out of there. I don't want to hear that. Like it was, and so Dr. Jamie Eddy is watching. She put capitalism rules everything, and that is one of my questions tonight. Because we're talking about the moral injury that happens to our veterans around their lives. Like they get to come home, they do not get to desensitize, and we don't know what they saw. Because I have a cousin who served in Desert Storm. I have zero clues what my cousin saw, but I know the man that left that used to pick my butterball stuff up, that's what they would call me, came home and didn't want to play with me. And not because he didn't love me. To this day, if he sees me, I'm going to get a big old hug from him. But I don't know what his eyes captured, and the sounds, the smells, the touch. He couldn't do it.
We've been talking about moral injury, and I want to define that. Right.
Okay.
And we know what the physical injuries are, right? Because we're able to see them, right? But a moral injury is being exposed to an event which transgresses or goes against one's morals, beliefs. So, for example, it's a soul wound. A moral injury is a soul wound, right? So we can give you prosthetics for a missing limb, but the soul is often left undealt with because we don't know what to do with that. It ain't seen. Go to church, read your Bible, pray, and it'll be over. But a moral injury is a soul wound. It's an inability to recognize the moral dissonance between the idolized values and their perceived comeback experience. So what does this mean? I grew up in church. My core value that I learned in vacation Bible school, I learned in Sunday school, VTU, and all the other places that I went. I got some core values. I'm gonna help my fellow, my siblings. I'm gonna help my friends. Whatever somebody in danger, I'm gonna be right there to get them. I am going to when there is somebody who is struggling, I'm gonna be there to get it. I'm going to save everybody who's in it. They taught me in the 10 Commandments, Dr. Margaret, thou shalt not kill. But now I'm in combat and I've had to kill. I saw children blown up, women, children blown up on the side of the road. I saw it. And I could not do anything about it. And my mama told me growing up that whenever there is somebody in trouble, offer a helping hand. And yet I could not do it. You either did it or you saw it. You were exposed to it. And now you go home. And from what I can understand as talking to veterans is they don't give you no time to process.
No.
You don't have time to process while you're in it. You can go, they tease all the time, say, you go take an aspirin, you're going to Tylenol, you get on back out there. So you hold all of this in, and then when you get home and they got the welcome signs around you, got the little baby and the wife and all of that, and all the wives and the children. As you talked about, Dr. Margaret, the man or the woman who left 18 months ago or 6 months ago, if they have been in the thick of things, you are not getting back.
No.
You're not getting back that person.
You're not getting them back. No.
You're not getting them back. And so it doesn't matter if you were in, I had a veteran who was Korean. He was in his 80s. He could not get over the fact that he killed children. So what do I have to do to try to bring what you did and what you were taught and what you're, how do I try to reconcile the two?
Ooh.
And so we go through this thing. I always give this example that you were doing a job. You were not on the streets of New Orleans just willy-nilly because you felt like it, shooting up people. But you were at work doing a job of taking out an enemy, which is totally different from going out just, because it's your Second Amendment right and shooting up people. That's different.
Ooh,
so
ooh.
Go ahead.
put a pin right there because you threw up the Second Amendment. I hope everybody heard that. This is being defined beyond anything that I could even imagine. So y'all should share this with your friends. Like it, love it, share it. If you didn't get a clear definition of soldier so far and job description so far, then go back and watch the replay and listen to it again. Mm-hmm. 2, I don't know if this is where you're about to travel, but I'm going to get this out because I'm sitting here thinking about the text, and I'm using biblical text tonight. And I'm thinking about the many faces of David that we saw. And each face of David went from shepherd boy to musician for a king to celebrating him taking a life to save everybody else, what you just went to then having to take the life or go about taking the lives of those that he was supposed to be protecting. Then we got different brain work from David. Yeah, we got David. Yeah, we got that. So I guess I thought about David in his tour duty. That's what I'm gonna say because that's what it ended up being for him. The effect and how that looks at, and I am today for some of my people that the Bible ain't up today or the Bible is perfected in what it is. That's not where I'm going with this. But how, because you said something powerful. We go over, we're doing the job, we fight the enemy, we come home. No, not nan time that we had a process that we just killed. We don't know who we did. We just blowing up the area to cover it. How does capitalism affect grief and celebration? Because we have to do that simultaneously when we're thinking about soldiers out there. They're grieving loss while we are in the States celebrating the win.
Yes. And you know, that not only so the moral injury and the soul wound is I did it and therefore I am. I did it and therefore I am. So now we come with grief. Now we come with shame. Now we come with guilt, survivor's remorse. You know, all of these things. I did something bad. I saw something bad. I said something bad. And then therefore that becomes me. And now I'm worthless. So you got PTSD, which is the emotional. You got moral injury, which is the spiritual. And if they're not dealt with, I'm going to drink it out, drug it out, sex it out, eat it out, and all of those things. So I don't feel. And so Dr. Margaret, being on the mental health unit, the men, the good-looking black men. And I said, my God. I don't want to. Damaged is the word. I am going to use this word, damaged. Now, that's not everybody's story. It's not everybody's story. And I realized that, as someone told me this week, I'm seeing the worst of those who come, and there are many who never come. And let's talk about these families of the young wife who's doing the best she can, but now the husband has a traumatic brain injury. On top, that's the physical, but then he has the spiritual wound, the soul wound, outbursts of anger, domestic violence, substance abuse, can't hold a job, wake up all times of night screaming and don't know where he is. And that young, and I'm saying young because I often see them coming in with the little babies and they're gonna have to do it basically by themselves. And let me tell you, it doesn't matter how much money you get. They go in percentages. If you 1% or 100%, yeah, that's going to provide the medical part for you, and you won't have to pay anything, but your house is tore up. And so the dad can't, and I know women, there are women too, but mostly, we're seeing men. The dad can't function with the child or any loudness. You got to go to your room and your mom's constantly trying to tell you, don't make a lot of noise because you don't want to upset your daddy and just go in there and just play. And he can't come to the football games because they are or the track meet because they're going to shoot that gun to get it started. So therefore, the woman has to make a decision if she stays in or leaves. And then we didn't even talk about how the church is not equipped to handle the ones who come back. I'm gonna breathe for a minute.
You take your breath because you got us over here breathing and panting. This conversation is good. For those of you who are watching, please leave questions or comments. Because when I say my friend is out here giving you everything that you need to know tonight and giving it to you right, like it with breath to process, like you got to. And I do, as she takes her breath, I know that there are women who are soldiers who have this, they suffer here as well. But even the historical meaning behind Memorial Day, I saw that too. I saw Elisha actually started with these Black soldiers who were men, from it was the Civil War. Civil War. And so, mind you, while those Black men were fighting, risking their lives, doing things like stealing ships because they was determined they was going to be free. And here comes this capitalism. Dr. Jamie said it. She said it beautifully. Capitalism rules everything. And so I know, that moment we talked about the men, because that really is in Margaret's opinion, nobody's on here from the government. The target, if I can take out what I think dominates and put them on the front line. I use David for a reason, because David went to the strategy of putting something on the front line to cover his. So if I can do that, that will eliminate two threats at one time. It will fight the war I needed to fight, and it will take out that thing that can take me out. And so Black men have been seen as a threat for a long time.
And these promises of college education. We're coming out of, those who see military as a way out. But then when they are wounded or experiences, problems, oftentimes not because there are not programs, but a lot of times, if you think about it, Margaret, I have seen, and I have asked the question, especially those with mental health challenges, schizophrenic, bipolar, things of that nature. And I often ask, Were they like this before they went in? Some of them, some of them were, but it did not exacerbate until they were put under pressure.
Mm-hmm.
Because
They had a break.
they were put out there, and then and you find out they schizophrenic, they have bipolar, all of those things that y'all talk about in mental health. And so homeless, you become homeless. A lot of people that's homeless, the vets, they're veterans.
Mm-hmm.
They're veterans. And it's not because programs are not available. Sometimes they cannot be in that kind of structured environment, and because of their mental health challenges, or things of that nature. But yeah, this is a family situation. It is not just the person who went. It's the family situation, and thus it becomes the community situation, and it ought to become the church's situation.
So can we stay right there for a moment?
Stay right there as long as you want to. It's your show.
Let's stay right there. It goes from individual,
yes,
to family, to community.
Yes.
Black faith community. I'm 42 years old, and I dealt with this stuff my entire life.
Mm-hmm.
And I did not find Black faith community that I was connected to as a child, nor as an adult, know how to manage what comes in that family unit around a veteran that has experienced wartime. They don't. You will have prayer. There was even encouragement when I was a child. The statement made to my mother around my father was, if you would learn how to get over your grief around your father dying early, it could let him be the man he needs to be and not have to live in the recall. They had my mother and father's marriage had nothing to do with my daddy's recall. Can I be honest? Some of the stuff she did might be triggering. That sentence didn't even go together, but that's how Black faith community managed it, because he made it home. That's all you would hear. Well, he made it home. We should celebrate he made it home. But here's this community problem. He made it home, and now what is this going to do for the community, family, and himself? My father would tell me stories. He said, I would rather be homeless because I make more money. Capitalism. I made more money being homeless and dropping into the VA with mental health issues than I could getting a job being a Vietnam vet. I couldn't even get a job. When they realized what war I served in, I couldn't even drop fries at McDonald's, but I could be homeless, show up at the VA, and get a check for them to run experiments on me, run mental health stuff on me. Like that, again, sitting in this soul wound, because now my humanity is stripped.
That's right.
I came home, and the celebration versus the grief.
Yes.
Yeah. We can go. That's huge to me. Like how can, if it's a community issue, it should be a church issue.
Yes. And so we Dr. James, I'm sorry. I'm thinking about grief, so I see Dr. James' name. I'm sorry.
If she's still on here, I hope she chime in. If she's still on here, say her name.
Dr. Margaret, the church has not done well at anything but shouting and preaching and churching. And so what it takes to set captives free, to give sight to the blind, and all of those things that Jesus talked about in Luke 4:18, we lack. So if we're going to be holistic, Jesus said, I come to give you life, Zoe, ultimate life, not just the physical life, not just your spiritual life, mind, body, and soul. Okay. So therefore, we need to have You can have like you got Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts in church. You can have a VFW post in your, these kinds of things, these kinds of outlets. So when I was coming up, my uncle had gone to I can't remember if it was Vietnam or one of them, but he, back then they should call it shell shock, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was shell shock. And so he would come home and all of his outbursts would be at the church. Now I'm in 10, 11, even younger grade. So, he go sit at the edge of the pulpit. He just do all of these things, right? I had one uncle call to preach. So when he went to preach, this other uncle, he'll just come and he'll just go sit up there, right? And all would be so shame. And I'd just be, oh my God, why are you doing this? Now I understand, or it helps me put some stuff in perspective that he was dealing with something spiritual. Because when he did his stuff, not to say he didn't do things at home, but the church. So now I can see this was a spiritual issue. This was a soul wound that he was trying to deal with at the best place he knew to deal with it. And it was at the church. The same place, which is why content out of context equals malpractice in the pulpit. I'll say that again, and there's a reason why I'm saying this. Content out of context equals malpractice in the pulpit. So what? So when we're teaching these 10 commandments, do you know that there are 613 laws? There are 10 statements, and all the other ones give amendments to the 10. So thou shalt not kill got some stuff about, well, if this happened, then this. Well, if this happened, then this. Thou shalt not do this. But if this happened over here, you can do that. But over here. So not being so dogmatic can help perhaps those who have to kill to understand there are some amendments. But when we don't do that, then we cause injury and harm from the pulpit.
Dr. Sherry got us rolling in the deep. All the songs coming to my mind. So we done got in it. I know that's an Adele song. And I even talked to her about this title because I knew we were going to go. But baby, when I say rolling, I got preachers that watch this, Dr. Sherry. I know they do. They ain't going to say nothing. But content out of context equals malpractice in the pulpit. I need y'all to go.
Yes.
I need y'all. Woo. I need y'all to go and sit with that because we also are realizing, Mary J. I love music. This ain't no happy holiday. Y'all know that song off the Mary album. No happy holidays here, and we are coming to.
So, Dr. Margaret,
I love how you said it.
Hold up a minute. So when we tell people that all they need to do is pray. We tell the wife all she needs to do is pray. If she'll just have enough faith, her husband is going to get better. If you just do this, you don't need no going up there to no therapist. You don't need to be going up to no to telling anybody your business. But see, in the Black church, the pulpit is king.
Ooh, Dr. Sherry. Oh,
whatever the because that pulpit, if the preacher, the pastor give the people permission, I promise you they'll do better. They'll go. But as long as the pulpit is saying things like, you don't need to go, that all you need is Jesus. If you just come to Jesus, everything will be all right. No. There are gifts given for the edification of the church.
Y'all have no idea how I want to throw something at her. Like,
therapy, the Greek word that is rooted in therapy, or therapy is rooted in, has the connotation of saving, of helping.
My God. So we oh Lord, oh God. So what I'm hearing, because this is what I'm hearing. I just want to make sure I'm hearing you right, because it's almost like a request. If the pulpit can partner with the community, then we might can get some church involvement that's beneficial.
But these your people. You know, the veterans that I see, they come up in church. They went to Vacation Bible School, and the best of them want to talk. They want to go down to the deep with the Bible, talking about. So they're rooted in it. That's why they are experiencing the soul wound. That's why their soul is in turmoil, because they come up in with some theological beliefs and some core values, and Dr. Margaret, you know about shattered assumptions. That the world was supposed to be like this. I was trained, I was raised, I was rooted in church with, that the world was supposed to be a Mr. Rogers neighborhood.
My God.
But then I left home and I enrolled in I enlisted. And then we know those who were drafted. But I enlisted, and the ones who, they're younger by the day. So those who have gone to Afghanistan and things like that. So now they're coming in they're in the system, the Iraq war in Afghanistan. So now they're in the system, and they are having these TBIs, traumatic brain injuries and things of this nature. And they and they want a date, and they look good, and they get married. But because of the wound, and some of that is to mask the wound. If I just get married, if I just have some children, if I just do these things, then over here would be better. And so it's not.
It's not. It's almost this, Dr. Shea. Just doing research. If I can go get 40 acres and a mule, if I can just go look like, then it'll make things better. And then I can get my humanity back. But what has happened is that does not come back. Dr. Shea said it, y'all go back and watch this replay. She said it. Who left to go is not the person you're going to get back. Who left to go is not who's coming home. It's not. And so this individual problem, and I'm using the word problem because I don't have a better word, Dr. Shea, if you can help me. This individual, because it's not just this a problem. Like, I leave with the notion of all the tenets that I grew up with. Black faith community, y'all fight me tonight, but there was a Bible around you growing up, because that's what you knew. We still got our family Bible where we clock all the deaths and the births. We do. No matter where you are with your spirituality, I got these tenets, because this passes down from my mama and my mom and my mom and them. And then I go and literally don't follow none of them because that's a command.
Yes.
I get a command not to follow none of what you told me
Yeah.
to do. And so now this is an individual problem, it becomes a family problem. To make sure I got it right, it becomes a community problem where the church is detached from community by offering us, if you pray about it, it will go away. But that's not working. And so we got people masking their issue in relationships. And I've seen some, Dr. Sherry, masking in education achievement.
Work.
Yeah. Work. I've seen them masking entrepreneurship. They're serial entrepreneurs because I can show you I can build. I can show you I can make it. I can show you I can be a contributing member of society again. Watch me do it.
Yeah.
And
I'm
do
not
it.
that person.
And I'm not that person that murdered people, killed people. I'm not that person that on assignment, I was an assassin. I mean, I've heard this come to my office.
Yeah.
I'm not that person. Yeah. Oh, God.
And also, and I know we're talking about veterans, but what moral injury also happens in healthcare workers. The pandemic. I only got so many masks. I only got so many ventilators. Who I'm going to give one to? Who's going to get this medicine? And so I'm not able to care for all who are in my care. And so they also experience that.
My God.
I do want to say this. Not every veteran experiences, and we're talking about heightened. Not every veteran experiences to the degree, right? Some people are able to deal, they may have engage in some type of group or therapy, they have a community, whatever. And so they don't, get to that. I was talking to a veteran who did not go to actual any battles, but he said that he has a therapist just because you still don't know, because some people are experiencing, I didn't go, but my friend went, and my friend didn't come home. Now, this is another thing. Is your audience grown?
Yeah.
Okay, your audience grown. Impotence.
Break it down, Dr. Sher. They grown on here, and if you got your children watching, they just got words because it's a grown conversation tonight about it.
Sex is not what it was. If you engage before, it's not always going to be the same. Number one, especially if you take it medicine.
Yep.
And a lot of people won't take the medicine because they don't want to lose that edge.
They don't lose the edge. And
so
if they do take it, my father slept on the couch.
Yes.
85% of the time.
Yes.
And that's when we knew he was taking his meds. He stayed away from my mother. Stayed away from her. Like,
yes.
Go on vacation. We had to get a suite. Yes. Because he sleep on the couch. Yeah. He sleep on the couch in the suite. You talking real good right here.
Yeah, and so that, of course, that's a problem if you're a young couple, or whatever, or even the older ones, they don't want to take the medicine because it messes with their libido. And so, but you take the, then there's the opposite. If you don't take it, then you got
Yeah.
problems. And
You
so
got problems.
As we bring it back around to Memorial Day, let's practice, let's normalize not saying Happy Memorial Day.
Ooh. You got me tonight. Because I slip up and say it, not even thinking, because that's what we see, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
If you live in a neighborhood and that you're going to pop, do fireworks, and some of them will come to some of them will come and want to be admitted so that they won't be in the environment where that's going to take place. We didn't talk about suicide, death by suicide, real big among those who military, because they see that death is the only way out from the pain they are experiencing, which my understanding of death by suicide is not about dying. It's about relieving the pain.
Yeah. And thank you for saying that. And I know I'm looking at our time because that's Sherry busy. I want y'all to hop over for her work tonight. She will continue with the brother's name, but they will continue this conversation about trauma tonight, not necessarily veterans, but they continue the conversation about trauma. But you saying that was powerful. We in the Black church like to make things spiritual, baby. We will put the spirit of toenail on somebody. You hear me? Like it'll be a spirit. The spirit of suicide. Dr. Sherry just said something. If you don't know how to take this away, y'all can fight me, DM me, you can call me. Most of y'all probably got my number. I don't know. But the spirit of suicide, X that. I'm trying to get rid of the pain. What is the cultural legacy, historical, whatever kind of burden you want to call it, that's weighing me down, that death looks like the better option than me waking up?
Yes. Yeah.
That's not a spirit. That is, I got so much weight on me that I'd rather just not be here.
I don't deserve to live because I could not save those who were under my charge.
My God. I
don't deserve to live because others did not.
Yeah. Yes. Whew. So I'm looking, Dr. Sherry, I love you. I know we were supposed to call people doctor today, but you a doctor. You're a doctor. I want to take these few minutes. Y'all ask questions, make comments.
I am a doctor of the soul, so I'm gonna take it. I am a doctor.
Come on, doctor. So yeah, that Sherry dropped every nugget that she had in the time block she had tonight. I'm not finna push her anymore. How can we get in contact with you? And well, before that, what are some resources that can get the church or faith-based community connected to the overall community for our veterans at this time? You giving us several.
This is gonna be very, very simple. If you have a veteran that's in the hospital, at the VA, or if you have somebody who is in a mental health unit that's a member of your church, we faithful to go when they got cancer. But those who are in the mental health unit very seldom get a pastoral care visit. That ain't costing you nothing. Take community to them. Bring your prayer circle to them. This is not costing much. So when we have to do a spiritual assessment, one of the things we ask, what is your religious tradition? Do you have local church affiliation, what's your pastor's name, and do you want me to call him? Now I see them in the inpatient unit, but very seldom do we see them. And that was pre-pandemic. Or even those who are now in the nursing home, and we call them community living centers, don't get to visit. But every VA hospital must have a chaplain's department. And I am seeing people, I feel my help right now.
Come on and feel it.
I am seeing people who the shout, they tell me, that hooping and hollering on Sunday morning, that ain't working for me. You know why? Because they need something else. They need for you to attend to their spiritual needs, not their religious needs. There is a difference, Dr. Margaret, between a spiritual need and a religious need. A spiritual need, we all have them. I don't care. I can minister to, I can talk to a Muslim, a Buddhist, a pagan, a atheist. You know why? Because at the core, we all got the same spiritual needs, whether you follow it or not. And do you know what the number one need is that people talk about? I don't care how you couch it, is to have meaning, value, and purpose. The number one spiritual need that people have is meaning, value, and purpose. Do you see me? Do I matter? And why am I here? It doesn't matter what your religious preferences are. I don't deal with religion. I deal with spiritual needs, concerns, and issues. They want to know, will this act that I have done keep me out of heaven? And so I'm dealing with people in the trenches, the people that you won't come see, the people who, I'm from the country, ain't coming to see you because they know that you're not equipped to deal with the questions. Case in point, and I'm out of here. I'm Baptist. I don't know what this 2, 3 or what clothes this is, but I got
these clothes are good. You preaching.
So yesterday, I'm talking about things that they won't ask you, the pastor, because they know you don't have the answer.
My God.
He started off telling me, now I told you that I'm down here in New Orleans, so they done grew up in the church, the Catholic church mostly, but all. And so he just starts, I even asked him. He said, yeah, my wife keep on me to go to church. I know I should, but I ain't going because they all, they go through the same, they all hypocrites and they ain't no good. And nobody no good. We talked a little while. Usually I'm going to go get my little stuff. I'm going to go into the next room. But the Spirit had me to sit with him because I felt that there was something else he wanted to say. We talked at him and her, and I told him, about not wanting to go to church. I said, well, you know what? You probably shouldn't. You probably shouldn't go because you're going to add to the people in the church that ain't no good. I said, now, I know this ain't what a preacher tell you, but this is what this preacher gonna tell you. If we could just get rid of the people in the church would be good. It'd be perfect. But you got those old people got to go to church and that messes things up. But his core issue was he was angry with God because his baby son died, who was the good one, and the bad son still living. And his question was, why didn't God take the bad one? I said, so sound like to me, you're angry with God. No, I had the preacher tell me, don't ask God why, ask him why not. I said, well, what we gonna do with Jesus is all his questions, and on the cross, he wanted to know why did Jesus forsake him? I say, when we ask the question why, it helps us to make sense. You know, if we could put one and one together, we get all that together, then we can make sense. I said, but here's the thing: every time you ask why, there's another question. But for the first time, I gave him permission to say that he was angry with God. I said, but because you couldn't be angry with God, you were angry with everybody else. You caused problems for everybody else, but God was really your problem.
Ooh, it's fire in my house. Y'all hear me? This little office is not holding up with what just got dropped.
See, these are kinds of conversations we have. I said, no, don't you go to church because church ain't ready for you. But what I will recommend is that you find your small community so that you can be in community, because your grief is real and it just happened.
I have so many people I got to bring back. I still got to bring Latasha back because she came in here talking about ethics and question, does the church have them? You didn't came on here. Other people, and that church may not be ready for you, but you still need community. Yeah, please, you said at the bottom, please support. Please support Dr. Sherry. She do so much. Like, if you working on your doctorate, I'm gonna get with her really soon. She can help you form it right. If you are a preacher, she can show you how to show up with a damn good sermon. Y'all need to follow up with her, but please follow. And if you are one that is concerned about how you are working, it's not too often you can have reach with a board certified chaplain. Some of y'all don't even know what that is. That's a big thing.
And since you said that, and I know, because Garland gonna be waiting on me. People often say that, oh, I want to be a chaplain. I want to. So what do you got to have? What do you? I want to go in and pray with people. I can do that. So when I run down the qualifications and the credentials that you need, so we're not just people that go in and pray. Sometimes I don't pray at all. Sometimes they tell me they don't want to pray because they ain't caring about what I got to say. But I sit there and talk about jazz and everything else. And before you know it, they talking about God. There are primarily 14 spiritual needs that crosses everybody. And so to be a chaplain is to have a master's of divinity, to have 2 to 4 units in the VA system, 4 units of CPE, clinical pastoral education, to be board certified, to sit before a board, and then to also have a specialization. My specialization is hospice and palliative. Right? And so most of the times your pastor wouldn't make a chaplain. There's a distinct difference. We are clinicians of the soul. So yes, I am a doctor. I'm a doctor of the soul. That's all. Mark.
I'm gonna get y'all type that in the chat, because she said it. I didn't have to say it. I go everywhere and I be taken up for my chaplains. They are clinicians. Do not insult a chaplain by saying, all you do is just go and pray for the people. No.
Mm-mm.
Even Dr. James just said, I pray 40% of the time.
Yeah.
No, these are clinicians and they have given you clinical advice. If you listen to them, and tonight, Dr. Sherry has given you clinical advice. She even answered that question. What's the resource? If you're not doing anything on Memorial Day and you know a veteran, take yourself, if you can, if you feel well enough to do so, and go visit Presence, the ministry of presence. Just show up, not declare things over them. Just show up. Just show up. So she gotta go. I want her to go because I will hold her all night. Because y'all listening real good. So, but y'all go back, watch the replay, share it. Y'all, yeah, we gotta bring her back. It's not too many times that you have someone to pause and give you their expertise. So please show some love, support. Go to her website. What she is offering is facts, truth, and it will bless you. Tonight, if you want to support Healthy and Holy Conversations, after talking with Dr. Irene about 5 months ago, I'm not ashamed to tell you where you can send, because we want to make sure that currency goes and currency flows, because this is not a free conversation. A lot of people are, you just watch it on Facebook, it's free. It's not. This took time, effort, and energy from Dr. Sherry that she did not have to agree to do. She did not have to be present for, and could have said, no, I can save this for some presentation. I can save this for a book. Some of y'all got some book quotes out of here tonight. I know I did. I got 2 pages of notes over here.
But not content out of context equal malpractice.
Man, that's your when I tell you I'm quoting you, I got my Cadence Arabian ready. Quote you over that tonight. That thing was good. So that y'all please show up, support. I love y'all. Dr. Sherry, is there anything else you want to leave us with tonight? Because they hanging on. Like they not even getting off of here. They linger.
I just want to thank you for the work that you do, and for always, whenever I've called upon you, you've always come through. We are better together. When you can do what you do, and I can do what I do, and others do what God has called them to, then we have a perfect picture of Jesus. Jesus had all the gifts, right? But your gift and my gift and Dr. Jamie's gift and others' gift, it takes all of us to be a composite of Jesus.
My God.
May all be well with you.
Yes, y'all be blessed. Stay healthy and holy. Stay on the mend, and we will see you all in June. Be blessed.